In February 1987, I was leaving this building, and the moment I got outside, I was immediately seized. In fact, I was kidnapped. I was taken to the headquarters of the security police, where I was interrogated. I was very frightened.
In 1981, this woman was beaten so badly by the police, she had to be taken to hospital. In 1982, she was arrested, held in prison for a year, and released without charge or trial. And the same thing happened in 1985. Who is this public enemy? She's Janina Verstein from Gdansk. Her crime? She belonged to Solidarity. The authorities could treat Janina this way because under martial law, more than 10,000 Solidarity activists were imprisoned. Yet in this church service, the Solidarity hymn is sung. Its banners displayed, the bishop is there, and Solidarity is still illegal. I've always been interested in Solidarity, but never more so than now. For after years of suppression, it looks as if it could be coming into its own. I'm particularly interested in its leader, for on the surface we seem to have a lot in common.
The joint shop stewards are utterly unanimous. We're going to fight this. The world is witnessing the first of a new tactic on behalf of workers. We're not going on strike.
The comparisons end here. You see, I was active as a trade unionist in a society which, whatever its flaws, has to be designated a democracy. Lech Wałęsa, in a totalitarian state where workers could be killed for going on strike. Behind me is a monument here in Gdansk to 27 strikers who were killed in 1970. This workers' state had once again become a penitentiary for the proletariat. For me, this is like a trip down memory lane. Shipyards and shipyard workers are the same the world over. It's a hard industry, it's hard work, and it breeds tough men. Something that governments have found to their cost. So it's not surprising that here in the shipyard in Gdansk on the Baltic is the focal point of resistance and opposition to the communist authorities in Poland. All the struggles followed a similar pattern. Government price increases made more cruel an already harsh economic regime. The workers would fight back and be crushed by brute force. This kept monopoly power in the hands of the Communist Party, but ruined the economy. The party, now desperate to avert its total collapse, needs help. But the ghost of 1980, when government and workers led by Lech bargained here in this yard, still lingers on. At this table here, representatives of the Polish government and Communist Party signed an agreement with the workers of Poland, which for the first time in the communist world recognized and legalized free and independent trade unions. The agreement was greeted with tremendous enthusiasm, indeed euphoria. Lech Wałęsa was mobbed by the crowd outside after the signing ceremony. And all over Poland, men and women openly wept on the streets because this was seen as the dawn of a new democratic age. The euphoria didn't last long. By the end of 1981, the Communist Party and the government declared martial law, reneged on the agreement, arrested the leaders of Solidarity, including Wałęsa, and virtually lost all credibility. So today there's widespread cynicism and pessimism. Many Poles say, why talk to these people? Their word and their signature isn't worth a damn.
I see this pessimistically because the party would like to continue to have power and it would also like to have support among workers. So you end up trying to square the circle.
This is our problem. Solidarity may be cheated. That's what we are here for, to be alert and not to allow ourselves to be cheated.
Should Solidarity be talking to the party and the government?
It should talk, but it's doubtful that they will come to an agreement because we have been here before many times.
It's high time that solidarity was recognized and that finally somebody started thinking normally in Poland, in a human manner.
Lech has probably got it right. People do want the talks, but their main preoccupation is with just getting by. The problems are graphically illustrated in the Gdansk open-air market. Thousands flock to pay sky-high prices for goods they simply can't get elsewhere. Used leather boots cost a month's wages, a black and white television a year's wages. 12 months ago, it seemed nothing could be done to change things for the better. Membership of an illegal Solidarity had slumped from 10 to 1 million members. 2 strikes brought Solidarity back into the limelight. They weren't led by Lech.
You
can't really call it communism. It's a dictatorship of 1 million people who hold all important positions and who will not give up their power.
Gdy nadszedł maj, stanęła stocznia. Gdy nadszedł maj, zawrzała krew. Ktoś krzyknął nam: chodźcie na bramy, nie bójcie się, bo cały ruch jest z nami. Solidarność zwycięży znów. Solidarność zwycięży.
These were the leaders of the shipyard strikes during May and August 1988, which confirmed that a widely based opposition still existed. They argue that it was their strikes which brought the government to the table for talks. They called them in the name of Solidarity and asked Wałęsa for help, for these are still the only names which inspire widespread public support.
Powstał MKS, międzyzakładowy.
An inter-factory strike committee was set up, and at one of the meetings it was decided that Wałęsa would go to Warsaw for talks.
Jakichkolwiek decyzji.
He was not authorized to take any decisions, and we were waiting for his report of these talks.
Dopiero później Wolna Europa jeszcze podała.
But later, Radio Free Europe said that Lech Wałęsa had taken the decision to end the strike. We were angry. We didn't agree. We walked around the gates. We listened to the people who were furious because we were strong. We could have achieved a lot. All the workers were of this opinion.
Przyszedł i powiedział, że podjął decyzję o zakończeniu strajku.
Lech didn't even ask us as the strike committee if we agreed to ending the strike. He didn't ask for the opinion of the people. He took a decision which he called a democratic decision. I said I wouldn't tell the people this because in May I told them that we were finishing the strike and they look at me like a traitor. Now they would have a grounds to say this. And he said to me, you little shit, you are making shit for me.
Jak na zdrajcę. Teraz będą mieli podstawy, żeby to powiedzieć.
In May, Lech, in my opinion, he was fantastic. He was at the gates. You could see him. He was simply a tribune of the people. He spoke, and he was with the workers every day. Whereas, Lech in August, it was another person. It was difficult to talk to him, to discuss with him. He was always busy. We couldn't come to terms with his decision in August.
Nie mogliśmy się pogodzić z jego decyzją w sierpniu, no bo po prostu ludzie, nasi bracia walczyli po prostu w 70.
Our brothers fought in 1970. They fell and were killed. In the name of what? In the name of freedom, in the name of Poland. And so we are the same. I take into account the fact that I may be killed or injured at any moment. And I believe that Wałęsa is too conciliatory. He's got into bed with communists. He's very happy in this bed. He feels great.
No, czuje się wspaniale.
This, to me, surprising view of Lech is shared by a new generation of industrial activists who are mainly responsible for last year's wave of strikes. British television. It does appear, however, that you have some critics among Solidarity activists. They accuse you of being autocratic and dictatorial. Others say you are too moderate, prepared to do deals with the authorities too readily and for too little. What is your response to these criticisms?
Ma pan rację. Jedni mówią, jestem za miękki, drudzy za twardy.
You are right. Some people say I'm too soft, others say I'm too hard, so one doesn't know.
Trzeci, że forsuje...
I consider myself to be the greatest democrat in the universe. I leave out some people from one side and also from the other. I leave them out because I can't fit them all in. And I keep the middle ground, which allows me to carry out my line, which is clear to me. Is another way possible? No, no other way is possible, because I would have to give something up.
Nie można inaczej, bo z czegoś bym
But
musiał...
in the rough and tumble of struggle, leaders sometimes have to give something up. They can't have it all their own way, and anyway, they're not always right. This is the chastening experience of democracy.
Ja nie mam prawa nawet...
Lech is the only one who speaks at these weekly press conferences, and often refers to himself in the third person.
99% of the population wants agreement, supports this direction and is scared of being cheated, is scared of betrayal, is frightened for Valenza. Will he survive? All this is true. Only a minimal percentage are a great threat. They are very noisy, and I'll have to take my belt off, I'll have to beat them, but I won't beat them. We shouldn't imprison them because they are young people and they have been misled. It is not their fault.
Nabiera na to wszystko.
But Solidarity isn't a one-man band. There is a Citizens' Commission whose members come from all over Poland, mainly intellectuals, which advises Lech. Commission members arrive at St. Bridget's on the Saturday prior to the round-table talks with the government. A medieval historian and ex-party member, Professor Bronislaw Garemik, has emerged as Solidarity's leading theoretician. He seems a kindly fellow and laughed heartily when I suggested that as a medievalist, he should be an expert on the Polish economy. He first worked with Lech during the struggles of 1980, helping work out tactics and longer-term strategies, and they succeeded. Solidarity was founded and legalized, and over the years, he's got to know Lech well.
Wałęsa is a man, a very Polish personality. It means with a mixture of peasants' mentality and workers' mentality. And it means simply that he distrusts intellectuals. And he thinks always that intellectuals maybe they have their own game, which is not in the interest of himself or of workers. But now he knows that we are his friends, and we know that she is the leader of the movement and this charismatic leader of the Polish society.
Some people say you shouldn't get involved in round-table talks at all, that they will inevitably compromise Solidarity. How do you respond to these critics?
The collapse of the Polish economy is becoming the national drama. And so we were condemned, as Lech Wałęsa said, we were and we are condemned for a dialogue and for this round-table negotiations. And sometimes when I see critics from some young people against these negotiations, I understand them. And I would say, it's funny, I would say they are right. Because this dialogue is a very dangerous dialogue in which we can lose, we, Solidarity people, we can lose a good part of our capital and a good part of the myth of Solidarity. But we have to do it.
There are those in Solidarity who say they don't and shouldn't. As members of the Commission walk to the meeting room, Anna Valentinowicz is seen arguing with Wałęsa. She believes they shouldn't do deals with those who killed and imprisoned them in the past. Anna played an historic part in the early days of Solidarity, but now things are different.
From British television.
Dzień dobry.
You're a heroine of Solidarity in the West.
Jest pani bohaterką Solidarności na Zachodzie.
Have you not been allowed into the meeting?
Tak, nie wpuszczono. Decyzją Lecha Wałęsy.
Yes, I was not admitted on the decision of Lech Wałęsa. I asked, who are you shutting the door in front of? He answered, in front of you.
Będę mówiła, ale pokażę.
I won't tell you, but I'll show you.
Solidarność ma być taka.
This is what solidarity is going to be like, and this is what I wanted to ask them. Is solidarity going to come under party control? It's the intellectuals who are coming to an agreement. The working people have no right to speak. The best proof? You were witnesses today. I am the root of this solidarity, and today I am not allowed to say anything.
Nie mam nic do powiedzenia.
What followed was even more intriguing. Spanish television started to interview Anna. Then, as you can see, someone intervened and called away the Polish interpreter. On her return, she wouldn't say what had transpired. But without her services, the Spaniards could not conclude their interview with Anna. The Spanish reporter told me what had happened.
Someone told our interpreter, someone for this church, that if we go on with this interview, we should forget Wałęsa for the future. We wouldn't get anything from Wałęsa, no pictures. We get, well, it's a sort of blackmail.
Leaders of mass movements are often accused of going too fast or too slow, asking for too little or too much. It's an occupational hazard. But Wałęsa's critics don't spell out their alternative. Civil war, or a fond hope that the party will volunteer to give up all power. Hardly realistic. But surely Solidarity should treat its dissidents more tolerantly.
The situation is that there is no number 2 or number 3 in the trade union. This is by no means the fault of Wałęsa, who never aimed at such a dominance. A number of objective conditions created this situation. There is Lech's personal charisma, which means that he can get the masses within the trade unions, for example, to end strikes. People nationwide are prepared to submit to Lech's decision. The same goes for the West. Looking at Western press and seeing Western news broadcasts, one gets the impression that the only person who exists is Lech Wałęsa and nobody else. This creates a situation in which Lech Wałęsa has a great room for maneuver, and he's not limited by anything.
Working class heroes are expected by some to permanently wear sackcloth and ashes and live the frugal life. A job prescription which might appeal to masochists, but few others. Here are two of Lech's 8 children playing in the garden of their new home, in what is called in Gdansk Millionaire's Row. His critics take a jaundiced view and ask how an electrician, which is still his official employment, can afford such a place. When we asked what it cost, we were told, what a stupid question. But in Poland, the waiting list for a 2-bedroom flat is 25 years. The housing standards in Poland are appalling. Here is where Lech lived before, a broken-down housing scheme scattered round the site of an old airfield, with the cracked runway bisecting the community like a decrepit autobahn. Like everywhere else in Poland, a church isn't far away.
This was Lech Wałęsa's parish church, where he and his family worshipped. It's been something like 15 years under construction, but look at it. It's damp, it's bleak, it's unheated, and it's also unfinished. In its way, it could be a metaphor for much of what is modern Poland. And when you think of it, it must be a real test of faith to worship in a place like this. But then no one has seriously doubted Wałęsa's devotion to his church. And this he's not alone. Geography and history have combined to make the Catholic faith an integral part of the Polish consciousness.
Poland is sandwiched between the German and Russian cultures. Its land many times invaded and made a battleground by these much bigger neighbouring nations. The church in Poland became a symbol of national identity, an integral part of their Polishness. It's important to understand this, for no other trade union leader in the world has so proudly proclaimed his religion as does Wałęsa, and it's not always understood by non-Poles. At church services here, national and now Solidarity flags are unfurled. The congregation gives the Solidarity hand sign for victory. Sermons are applauded. It's both a mass and a mass meeting.
The independent self-governing trade union Solidarity has placed its trust and struggle completely into the hands of Our Lady. And today we pray that Lech Wałęsa and all those members who will take part in the round table.
Father Jankowski's church in Gdansk is actually the nerve centre of Solidarity's administration.
Apart from Lech Wałęsa, participating in the round table will be the following people.
Jankowski is a flamboyant character who told me that Lech had a supernatural charisma. Here he reads out a list of Solidarity delegates to the talks with the government. The only thing is that the meeting taking place across the courtyard, which is supposed to elect these delegates, is still in session and hasn't yet reported. When the congregation spills onto the streets, there is spontaneous singing. The song goes, Solidarity will win because it's led by Lech. Despite his critics, Wałęsa's popular support is currently unchallengeable. Solidarity has asked the churchgoers, thousands of ordinary citizens and their children, to disperse quickly and quietly. But as they approach the main thoroughfare, the riot police are determined to break up the procession, and suddenly the clause of institutionalized state violence can be glimpsed. Should Solidarity even seek an agreement with such people? Wałęsa says it must. Others say this would be an unprincipled compromise. An imponderable question remains. Even with an agreement, can the party be trusted to honour it? Professor Jerzy Kolodziejski was governor of the Gdansk region and a leading member of the government's negotiating team in 1980 and a signatory to the agreement. When martial law was declared, marking a return to the use of force, he resigned his post in the government. He accepted Solidarity as a legitimate mass movement of the Polish working class. In 1980, he received from Lech a signed copy of a photographic album of those historic days. Given his past experiences, I asked him if the party could be trusted, and were the current reforms merely a tactical manoeuvre to overcome immediate problems.
Ja myślę, że sprawa jest głębsza. To znaczy,
I think the matter goes deeper than that. I don't think it is simply a tactical maneuver. Both sides have understood the interrelationship between the functioning of the economy and changes to the political system. Within the old political system, you cannot have a healthy economy.
Nie będzie nowoczesnej gospodarki.
What I found among the Polish people is a distrust of the party, indeed a hatred of the party. Won't this make impossible your concept of a coalition?
To, co mówię, jest...
What I am saying is perhaps optimistic. I belong to the reformers within the party, and the nature of reformers is, as Churchill once said about a certain group, their mistake was that they were right too soon. There is a serious group within the party which should not be underestimated. A very conservative group which doesn't see that to keep ruling, the party has to radically reform itself, to share power. Although not in such a way as to lose power.
Partia, żeby rządzić, musi się radykalnie zreformować.
Dopóki kłamstwo wokół jest, dopóki ludzi krzywdzi się, Ty solidarnie, bracie, stój i walcz o dzisiejszy dzień.
The man up there, precariously mending the structure of a housing block built just a few years ago, is a graduate engineer who can't find work in his profession, which probably has something to do with the fact that he is Angie Gwiazda, a founding member of Solidarity, who lives here in the worst high-rise building I've ever seen, only a couple of miles from where Jersey and Lech stay, but a world apart. But then, this is how most Poles live, and for them, deals that might in any way worsen already deplorable living standards are just not on. For them, solidarity should be a protective shield against those who would make the people pay and suffer more in a vain effort to clean up the mess made by the party.
Angie, this is the one that particularly interests me.
Yes, this is the strike committee in Gdansk. I was the organizer.
Gwiazda was Wałęsa's only serious rival for the presidency of Solidarity at its only Congress. He was elected to the national leadership, but hasn't been invited to a meeting. He claims because of his views.
I'll read a fragment of the statement by my colleagues from Łódź, which I consider to be crucial. We declare no trade union in the world can agree to give up or sacrifice the living standard of workers or accept the use of unemployment as a tool for ensuring worker discipline. To me, it seems that Wałęsa is turning into a politician rather than the chairman or the leader of a trade union. In the traditional sense, he is a purely right-wing politician. I'll draw attention to a recent important statement because it was made on television in front of millions of people. Wałęsa declared that for an agreement to register a completely new solidarity, we are prepared to roll up our sleeves and we are prepared for sacrifices. Now, this is a declaration that we would be prepared to increase our hours of work and our work rate, to agree to a drop in living standards. Such a statement is difficult to make compatible with the views of a trade unionist.
I intended to raise with Lech the problems of Solidarity, its tactics and strategy, and how he sees his role. But it's just a few days before the start of the negotiations, and he's obviously under great pressure. The world's media want him to reveal his hand, and he, quite rightly, is determined not to do so. Here he is being interviewed at the one time by Swedish, Hungarian and Spanish television. It's a shambles. Whether he should be exposed to the media at such a time is debatable. He is not at his best.
I'm not a theoretician, but I'm chairman of the trade union Solidarity, which is fighting for existence, and my aim is to fight for the existence of Solidarity. All other subjects, people who are professional will answer these matters at the round table.
Do you see your trade union activity as an expression of your Christianity?
No, I want to say it slightly differently. The union of which I am a chairman is neither left nor right. All groups, trades, professions and world outlooks fit into it. But my fate is my own private matter.
Now, if Gorbachev fell and was replaced by neo-Stalinists in the Kremlin, would this, in his opinion, kill hopes of democratic reforms in Poland?
I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not an expert on Soviet matters or Gorbachev. I can't wonder about whether he falls or he doesn't fall. I'm just a union member trying to exist in this country.
Okay. If emerging from the roundtable talks, Solidarity is legalized as a trade union, what about Lech Wałęsa? Will he continue as a trade union leader, or has he political aspirations?
I'll ask to retire. You must understand that you've come at the moment when I have a great many matters on my plate. I have no time for filming.
more important things in our life.
We could talk, sir. I'm not so unpleasant as I am being portrayed here. But you've given me subjects that I should think of the past or sum up Gorbachev. I can't at this moment. My head is elsewhere. It's not my bad character or pride. I can't keep up. I live here and now. This is what's important for me. This is your subject, though, for me as well indirectly. But now I have to decide my order of importance. And I have to consider different subjects. So don't be angry and all the best. You come at a different time and then we will talk seriously. Give us the next one.
For days now there's been something niggling away at the back of my mind, and I've suddenly realised what it is. I can find no trace, no sign of a popular upsurge of opinion demanding talks, demanding negotiations, demanding reforms of the political system. This impression we have in the West of a communist government being dragged screaming against its will into negotiations is just not true. It's solidarity that's dragging its feet. There are elements in solidarity that are not the least bit happy about being involved in talks with the communist government and the Communist Party. So what's it all about? Well, in my opinion, it's all about crude economics. Do you speak English?
Little, you know. The taxi is my school. Sorry for my language.
Oh, that's very good. It's better than my Polish. What's your name?
Christopher.
Christopher. My name is Jimmy.
All right.
See, at journey's end, will I pay you what's on the meter? Will that be the fare?
You know, when you come to the taxi, I open my taximeter. Here is 30 zloty. This is price for first kilometers. For next kilometers, you must pay 10 zloty. But this is price from 1984. Now, you must pay by 12 times of the day and 80 times of the night.
So my fare will be 12 times what's on the meter, and if it's at night, 18 times. Does this reflect the inflation of these years?
This is inflation, because everything coming up. The price for petrol, for a car, also. Everything is very expensive.
Are cars expensive to buy over here?
Yes. When Mr. Gierek was Prime Minister, he have idea a small Fiat will be for everybody. We start pay for a small Fiat 69,000 zloty. Now we are pay 6 million.
So in the 1970s it was something like 60...
Between 1970 and 1975 we are pay 69,000 zloty for one Fiat.
And now it's more than 6 million. That's about 10 years of the average wage for a baby Fiat.
Yes. It's true.
And how do you get your car then? How did you get this car? It doesn't matter whether you're in New York, Govan or Warsaw. To get the inside info, ask a taxi driver. And Christopher confirmed the impact of runaway inflation. It is, however, low productivity and a crippling apathy that are the root problems. The black market has become the alternative economy. This is the foyer of the Intercontinental Victoria Hotel. In the restaurants here, the waiters sidle up to you and say, "Sir, would you like some caviar? Sir, would you like some Havana cigars?" They give the impression they could get you anything you wanted for hard cash. You see, essentially, they are money changers who give you many times the official exchange rate. For $100, officially I should get something like 50,000 zlotys. These guys give you 300,000 zlotys. Now, it sounds a lot of money, but let's see what it buys.
Mushrooms are very popular in Poland. Very.
To jest kilo.
Aha. How much?
Kilo. Tyle, 60 tysięcy.
60,000 for kilogram.
So for this year, 60,000.
Tak.
My God, that's a month and a half's wages, approximately. Yeah.
The guy who first said that money is only worth what it could buy sure knew a thing or two. By his criterion, the zloty is a dead loss.
This Nescafe is for 16,000.
Yeah, 16,000.
16,000.
How do you get the Nescafe? I mean,
W jaki sposób pan dostaje tą kawę?
Przywożą.
People just coming from abroad.
Niemiec przywożą.
Especially from West Germany.
yeah. But I mean, they don't bring it in suitcases. I mean, there's too much of it, so they must bring it in lorry loads.
Samochodami przywożą.
By cars.
By cars.
By cars.
There's no restrictions on them doing this.
Nie.
No restrictions at all.
Well, why do you come here to shop?
Dlaczego pani tutaj akurat kupuje rzeczy?
Dlatego, że czego nie mogę dostać w sklepie, kupuję tutaj.
Because I can't buy those things in normal shops and I must buy here.
But they're very expensive, eh?
Są bardzo kosztowne.
Oczywiście. Proszę pana, jeszcze...
At mention of cost, the lady turns away. In this Aladdin's cave for the Polish consumer, the prices are sky high. A tin of biscuits costs a week's wages, 2 weeks for a jar of coffee. No wonder this huddle of stalls in the centre of Warsaw turns over millions of zlotys each week. Needless to say, most Poles can't afford to shop here. And it's not any better in Warsaw's biggest department store. It looks nice and quiet because people are kept waiting outside the clothing area, queuing, accepted as a frustrating inevitability. It's like a kind of wartime austerity in a country at peace. A few at a time are let in to buy garments, which by Western standards are much inferior, and yet they pay exorbitant prices. Everything here, or not here, is for zlotys.
What's the difference between communism and capitalism? Well, the answer, according to the current Warsaw joke, is an escalator. This escalator, because it leads to a floor where you can buy anything for the Yankee dollar.
Poland has now a two-currency economy, and the poor sister is their own currency, the zloty. Up here you can only pay in dollars. This floor reflects both the economic problems and the government's willingness, born of desperation, to take a line which must have old Stalinists spinning in their graves and offices. They are seemingly prepared to sell not only videos for dollars, but also the hallowed principles of their communist philosophy.
Present legislation does not envisage any limitations on the development or size of either the individual or private enterprises, nor does the law limit the number of such enterprises. So the answer to the question, what will be the situation in 10 years' time, is that this will be the result of unconstrained development by enterprising people. If it comes to the question of whether we liquidate ineffective enterprises, well, when the bank refuses them credit, then in a natural way they will be liquidated. As for the matter of subsidizing food, we propose that the subsidies that we currently give to the producer should be given to the people to put in their pockets and to let them decide for themselves whether they want to spend it on housing, vodka or milk.
Your theories seem remarkably similar to what we would call Thatcherite economics.
We are full of admiration for her, for one thing only, that she came on the scene in England when it was in a state of economic and social crisis, after the last Labour government. The way in which Thatcher dealt with these problems is impressive. Something of this has to be imitated. English society somehow found the strength to deal with striking miners and enraged trade unions. And in this way, you are for us an example of solving certain problems.
Dobrze, a teraz niech pan to wszystko położy i niech pan stanie w ten sposób. Tak.
Is there no escape from Kylie Minogue? She haunts me, even in Warsaw. Her song, mind you, could easily be the theme tune of Andrew Burzinski. His plastic jewellery has amassed him a fortune. He makes 3 times the average wage every day. He is so lucky, and the French magazine L'Express wants his photograph for its front cover.
Każde zamówienie jest zgłaszane, czy teleksem, czy telefonicznie i wszystko natychmiast jest
Bo
wysyłane.
wie pani, że sklep w Pradze czeskiej to jest nasze oczko w głowie, to musimy...
Angie is doing well because he has the best of 2 worlds. Mr. Wilczek's New Poland removes all constraints and allows him to sign deals with Italian companies to expand his business, while the old Stalinist Poland provides him with abundant cheap labour and inefficient, incompetent public enterprises that simply can't compete. He has a high-tech office, a low-tech workshop, a staff of 30 and 1,200 retail outlets in Poland and Eastern Europe. That's how he can drive a Mercedes that would take the average Pole, on average earnings, 200 years to buy. The door to his flat is like the entrance to Fort Knox. When I look at all this, I can't help thinking of that other Angie, Gwiazda, in his high-rise slum in Gdansk. Angie, this is a lovely flat we've got.
Can you come in?
Yes. I think I like these things, they're lovely.
All the world, from Italy, from France, of course from Poland.
Yeah.
Something I have got after my parents.
Yeah, very nice.
Can you?
Yes.
Can you?
This is nice too.
Thanks a lot. Would you like to drink something?
Scotch.
Scotch, on the rocks, of course.
On the rocks, why not? So you prefer Scotch to Polish vodka?
A few years ago I drank a Polish vodka, now I prefer Scotch. I feel better.
Yeah, so do I. Thank you very much, Andy. And cheers.
Cheers, it's my pleasure.
Now, you're obviously enjoying the fruits of your success. Tell me about your lifestyle.
Well, I spent all vacation with my wife, with my 2 boys in Spain or in Italy, and we have a lot of time in a winter to spend the winter holidays, and now I can do it, but before it was impossible.
Yeah. How many cars have you got?
Oh, I have got a Mercedes and I have got 2 BMWs. Yeah. But it's not bad because I like fast cars.
In the short term, isn't the reform programme bound to make the rich richer and the poor poorer?
Well, I think in first time, rich people will be richer and poor people will be poor. But I think it's normal in this time. But after 2-3 years, everything will be better for everybody.
Angie, from what you say, the question arises, will Poland, after these reforms, be, as it claims to be today, a socialist society? I mean, won't the socialist economy have become a Western capitalist economy?
Well, it's not capitalist, because it's difference between our life and, for example, in life people in France, in the United States. It will be Polish socialist, but really not bad. I think so.
Aye, not bad for Angie. But for the Polish people as a whole, life is pretty grim, and immediate prospects are worse. Is time running out? Is the system reformable? Is it merely freedom to let off steam in the press, but no access to the real levers of power? Is the party up to its old tricks? These are some of the questions troubling most Poles, particularly the young.
It will take time. It took 40 years to build this kind of society we have now. It will take probably at least 20 years to reverse what was happening.
And you asked, did we suspect that the Polish government would like to make a trick? And I say, yes, because I always suspect that they want to make a trick, because every time in history when the government, our government, tried to speak with people, they made a trick. But maybe also we could make a trick, and our trick could be more clever ones than their trick. It's only my hope. That's it.
Everywhere you go, you get the impression of a society where many, many people are, in order to live maybe just in order to live better, they're up to what we call fiddles. And I raise this question because it's a form of cheating. And this young lady in Gdansk told me, she says, in Poland, it's not considered immoral to cheat the state. She says, because they've cheated us of everything, including our nation. What do you think?
The problem of cheating derives from the law, because there's no right to sell dollars, there's no right to buy dollars, but there is a right to have dollars in bank. So this paradox creates other paradoxes.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
But look what happened during those 40 years to the society. I mean, in my opinion, it's completely ruined, demoralized. Everybody's waiting to be bribed. And if it all depends on people, I mean, I'm very pessimistic what's going to be here for the future.
I understand that many young Poles go on holidays abroad, but really to work there and earn hard currency. Do you do that?
Yes, I do. I've already done it, and I think that for people who like to be a little bit independent here, it's the only possibility, because, for example, if I want to study longer and longer and to after finish my first studies do the next degree, I have to have money to live, yes, and the easiest way for me is to go abroad to work 3 months and then be back here for the rest of the year and learn. If I would like to have the same money here, I should work 10 or 12 hours every day for the whole year, and I will have no time to read any book.
Is this a general experience?
Yes, I think there is a sense that Poland is a big waiting room for the people who come back, spend some part of the money that they had earned abroad, and then during the whole year they are plotting, they are making attempts to go for some months.
Do you know of friends and colleagues who have decided to leave permanently?
Yes.
Yes, lots of them.
Lots of them.
I spent some months in America this year, and I really missed Poland. But there are two Polands. One Poland is the country of tradition, the country of literature, the country of very close familial relationships, and this is beautiful country. And another country is the country that was created after the war, that the Polish didn't really accept it, they never accepted.
The building you see in the distance symbolizes why Poles have never accepted the post-war regime. It was Stalin's gift to the Polish people, an offer they couldn't refuse, a concrete representation of Soviet domination.
On May Day and other occasions, members of the Politburo of the Polish Communist Party would come to this podium to wave to their subjects. But nobody was really fooled, for the regime had been imposed by a foreign power. Pole couldn't really talk to Pole, because the ultimate decisions affecting this country were taken elsewhere, in Moscow. But today it could be different. Gorbachev is in the Kremlin, and it seems impossible that he could intervene to stop democratic reforms in Poland. If he did so, it would destroy overnight his whole credibility. But it would be a cruel irony if this courageous people were to miss the opportunity of once again determining their own destiny because of a pessimism from the past.
The big day is here. Talks are due to start, preceded by a photo opportunity for press and television cameras. 80 different crews from all over the world are here. This is Lech's triumph. Nabbed by the police something like 100 times, interned during martial law, scorned by the party as private citizen Wałęsa electrician. He will get his agreement. The party cannot afford to fail. Without a deal with Solidarity, it can have no validity at home and no credibility abroad. Lech's big challenge will come after an agreement is signed. In essence, the Communist Party is saying, you can have a share of power, along with a share of the blame for the onslaught in living standards that will follow. This will eventually split Solidarity. It might also split the Communist Party. Is it too much to